Garfield. Need I say he's an icon and my spirit animal? That needed to be said. He's a pretty straightforward character. He loves lasagna, he's lazy and self-absorbed, but also predicated on sarcasm and wit, and muscles apparently according to the internet. Remember that cameo of him in Rescue Rangers? Definitely not jealous. Anyways, despite Garfield's overwhelming straightforwardness, Hollywood has had a painfully hard time adapting him into a full-length feature. I remember that one really bizarre early 2000s CG movie that exists. What the furry? And don't get me started on the live action ones with this uncanny CGI hairball that's just overall very bland and unappealing. I get that Garfield isn't a super active adventure seeking character, but the original cartoons still had a simple but infectious energy about them that these movies just were missing.
I can see my house.
Got milk?
That scene out of context is kind of ridiculous, not gonna lie. What was early 2000s Hollywood's obsession with lame live action talking animal movies anyways? I mean, I'm glad we're out of that phase. Kinda. Yeah, oddly enough, this feels like a live action Pixar movie that would probably come out in the early 2000s, but like with way worse CGI. Anyways, I'm getting off track, back to the actual movie. So imagine my unsurprisement, I don't care if it's not a word, I'm using it, when I watched yet another Garfield movie that doesn't seem to really understand Garfield. I mean, he's not even buff for at least one scene in this movie. Like, what the heck, I feel robbed. And before you come after me, Quentin Reviews,
one of my big hot takes about the Garfield movie is that I think in 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to call this a classic. If there's any YouTubers you watch or follow that post or say that the Garfield movie is bad, unfollow them.
I don't think this is a bad movie. In fact, I found a good amount of it enjoyable. It just still reeks of corporate paint by numbers animated movie shtick, which is fine for this type of movie, but even ignoring critics' aggressive response to this movie, from an audience standpoint, would so many people be willing to give this movie a pass if it wasn't about Garfield and instead about some other random original cat character? Probably not. Most of the average viewer's enjoyment of a film such as this is hinged on the fact that this is a popular, nostalgic, well-known character, despite the story not really being that original or even interesting. They put so much effort into the promos and product placement for this movie, I was starting to become skeptical of the actual quality of the movie. Darn it, I would still watch all of these. I just think studio executives have found that they can put the lowest amount of effort into a story and script, or even easier, just pull a bunch of elements from previous animated movies, throw in a big bloated celebrity voice cast that nobody asked for and don't even usually sound similar to the source material, and then attach all of this to an already successful IP and then pretend like it's totally true to the spirit of said IP. Here's an interesting question. How really different are the Mario movie and the Garfield movie? Because the only big difference I can think of right now is that one is just slightly more popular and currently culturally prevalent than the other. And as much as I enjoy the Mario movie and want to be like, they put a lot of thought into the characters and voice cast, yeah, nah, it's all about the money, honey. What reason would you have Chris Pratt voice Garfield? Heck, even Mario, other than the fact that you think it'll get people's butts in seats. Maybe it's the fact that this felt like such a blatant marketing move that irritates me, and I know people are gonna be like, why you hate Chris Pratt so much? I don't have anything against Chris Pratt personally. I mean, he's obviously doing well in the live action industry, I just don't find most of his voice performances that engaging. Say what you want about DreamWorks' brazen celebrity voice casting, but ultimately everybody usually ended up doing a good job and fitting the energy and tone of these characters. These just also so happen to be original characters, not nostalgically recognizable ones. The casting here just feels so uninspired. If only Out of Touch Hollywood executives spent 5 minutes looking at an Instagram comment section, they would realize that literally no one was begging for or was even satisfied with Chris Pratt being cast as Garfield. Sorry, I just needed to get that off my chest. The plot is both simple and somehow complicated. Garfield, after being adopted by John, played by Nicholas Hoult, channeling some pretty good Arbuckle energy, is living the good life. Yeah, they make a whole song about it and everything. He's soon kidnapped one night and taken to an evil cat named Jinx, who wants Garf and his deadbeat dad to pay her back some milk for a heist gone wrong back in the day. And basically the whole movie is either solid but forgettable slapstick, daddy issues arguing, or surprisingly high-paced action for a Garfield movie. The whole climax is an insane train chase with crazy technology where the protagonist is chased by an unstable psycho with claws bent on making him pay for differences in ideology. Wait a minute, that sounds strangely familiar. Speaking of which, most of the plot feels strangely familiar, not only with the strained father and son subplot that immediately comes to a satisfying enough emotional resolution, but the whole venturing into / escaping a food factory feels straight out of Chicken Run. And I mean, you can probably guess which movie did it better. It just all feels very much been there, done that, which kind of feels oddly contradictory to what the movie does, which is straying from the source material. Because this Garf doesn't feel like Garf most of the time. Every 20 minutes he'll look into the camera and say something snarky, but other than that he feels way too energetic and even nice sometimes to feel like he's actually the same character. Say what you will about the live action movies, but Bill Murray was actually a really good choice for the character. In this movie he does not make fun of John once. Speaking of which, John is barely in this movie. I could have really used more of him and even Liz, who appear for like one scene. And as expected, Odie carries. This is the interpretation of him I've been waiting for. Happy-go-lucky, but still very much about his wit. He easily gets most of the best moments in the movie. I just still kind of find it strange that they decided to focus more on original characters rather than the old classic ones like Nermal or even Arlene, the original creator of Duck Lips. As far as the new characters go, they're all likable enough. I did like the Bull character, who is so frank about everything. I aspire to be like him. And the two lackey dogs were pretty funny. I especially connect with the really deranged looking one. I wonder why. The animation is also really well done, it's very snappy and smooth, easily the best CGI version of these characters. So I kinda just found this movie to be both overwhelming and underwhelming in equal measures, so it just kinda cancels each other out to be your average animated kids flick. It's fun, but not something I'll probably remember a week from now. I also watched Thelma the Unicorn this week and it was decent. It's another animated movie where most of the enjoyment comes from just how snappy and zany the animation is. Also points for not being another pop song musical. I love hearing this different style of music. It's really refreshing. Well, next up we got Inside Out 2. Please stick the landing, Pixar. I'm begging you. I think I want lasagna now. I mean, they show it so many times in the movie, it's like after a while, it's like, you know what, I need to go to my local Olive Garden and just get some delicious lasagna. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of the support. I will make a new video soon, so please be looking out for that. It'll probably be Inside Out 2, and thanks for watching again. Bye.